This episode of the Fans Talk Pro Wrestling Podcast has been brought to you by our friends in the Squared Circle of Trust. Become a member today to access exclusive content as well as early access to content just like this. Head on over to fanstalkprowrestling.com, click the big green button, and support us by pledging a few dollars a month. Beard! From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode number 302. That's right, 302 of Fans Talk Pro Wrestling. And tonight we're talking about last night's Monday Night Raw as we record on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's right, my name is Joe, and with me tonight is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Hello, Nick.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. Yeah, as far as the wrestling world goes, all eyes were on Monday Night Raw last night. Not that there was any other wrestling programming on as far as I know, but everybody paid attention because of the big announcement that was made earlier on that day from Daniel Bryan announcing his retirement. We're going to get to that. We're going to kind of get through a little bit of Raw, stuff we liked, stuff we didn't, matches, whatnot. So, Nick, let's talk Raw. What, at least the first part of the show, what really stood out to you?
You know, to be honest, not a lot of the first little bit of Raw stood out to me. I guess it's cool that Ambrose is still trying to pick fights with Lesnar, and I think that really paid off later on in the show, but overall, it was kind of ho-hum, especially with the big bomb that Daniel Bryan dropped. So, I don't think things really got rolling until maybe Charlotte versus Alicia Fox.
I see. I think that the way they started off Raw, everybody knew there was an announcement coming from Daniel Bryan. There were signs out in the crowd for it and everything like that. Everyone knew it was coming. They were in Seattle. Of course, the Daniel Bryan chant started early, but I like the fact that Stephanie McMahon was out there and kind of deflected a little bit of that to push the World Heavyweight Championship storyline. I think she did a wonderful job doing that, considering the gravitas, as it were. And then moving into a fantastic match between Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens. These guys are working some magic. It's impressive for me. This is the kind of stuff that SmackDown had in its heyday on a consistent basis. And I could imagine if we still had the roster split or the brand split, that both of these guys would definitely be on SmackDown. And back then, SmackDown was the better wrestling show. You wanted the male soap opera. You watched Raw, and some of the big announcements. But because SmackDown was taped, but SmackDown was a overall better show if you were just a fan of the art of wrestling. And this was definitely the type of match. Dolph Ziggler won with a roll up, cheating by wrapping his legs around the middle rope. Very surprising to give a face that type of win. I guess with Ziggler it kind of works.
I think with Ziggler they need to do anything to get a little bit of attention with him. I probably am selling this match really short just because it's Ziggler. It's been well established. I don't care. Even against Owens. I wish they would just end it and have Owens face somebody, younger, better, more relevant. But that's just
like
me.
What, The Miz?
As of lately, I think so. The Miz has been on fire lately.
Well, that's definitely a note. Miz has been doing well, but we can get to that because Miz was he's a short distance away here. Ziggler Miz though, I could see it. The battle for Cleveland.
Oh, I was thinking Miz versus Owens, but yeah, I guess that could work too.
Oh, okay, yeah, Miz. Yeah, so you're saying Miz would be the face?
I'm not even sure you'd really need a face in that thing. Miz just being the condescending veteran, kind of like he has been with AJ. But I think Owens would stand his own a lot better on the mic. I think Owens would be allowed to stand his own on the mic. AJ, he's never really been known for his mic ability. He's gotten a lot better in recent years, but even so, you still don't think of him as a talker all that much. You think of him more as a wrestler, a guy that gets his shit done in the ring. But Owens and Miz on the mic alone, I think that'd put butts in seats.
On the mic, yeah, I'll give you. As far as in ring, I think Ziggler Owens is a much better combo. Although awesome. I mean, since I touched on it, I think Ziggler versus Miz would actually be a fantastic series. I think they both came from the same town.
Maybe.
I think they're both actually from Parma.
You might be right there.
So yeah. And if you watched what's the new Ride Along, right? Is that the new show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's hard to remember the name. It was really generic. Generic for sitting in a car and videotaping them. But I actually enjoyed both the episodes of that. Not that we're sidetracking off to that, but it gives you a little more insight on the people in the people behind the characters. You know, what they deal with on a weekly basis, week in, week out.
You know, I kind of miss this next bit, the Usos and Dudleys. What was that about?
Purely talking about the tables matches and how they've, been experts at them, and they really haven't been in too many since, and they've been wanting to put New Day through a table. That's really what it was. And it was to help build their match later on, which was the New Day and a special and a secret team member versus Usos and the Dudleys later on in the show. Charlotte versus Alicia Fox. You made a comment, so the show didn't get going until then.
Yeah, even then, I don't really think this was that magnificent of a match. I am glad that Rick didn't really get involved in this one, but I don't know if it was just me, but I was kind of pulling for Fox to win this match. I don't know why. I just think I'm actually kind of an Alicia Fox fan, so maybe that's personal bias.
No, I still think Alicia Fox has untapped potential. I mean, she did have the one Divas Championship run, but it was really short. I still think one of the best moves I've ever seen her do, with her finisher being the axe kick. Yep. The one time she kind of screwed it up, and when she came down on somebody's head, her leg went underneath, like at the knee, like she bent it and came down, as opposed to like just kind of dropping the kick and kind of landing. So it kind of like wrapped around. I think it was one of the Bella's necks. It was just brutal. Like, oh, that was not supposed to happen. There was going to be a head popping off somewhere.
Yeah.
But Alicia Fox, I think her and Charlotte actually did a great job. It's good to see Alicia Fox in a match that lasts more than 2 minutes.
Absolutely, yeah. The one thing that I take issue with was Charlotte's spear, which wasn't much of a spear at all. I don't like that she uses that move. She's
not very good at it, from comparatively to other people doing it. I mean, she's better than some people at it, but it's not a move I would like to see her keep doing.
Yeah, the last diva to ever hit a spear really well was Caitlyn, and I don't know. I don't think that should be a move that many divas ought to use. Maybe reserve that for more of the bodybuilder type divas. Like, who knows? Maybe give one to Dana Brooke. Maybe she might be good at it.
There's potential there. We move along to Miz TV. Miz brings out Jericho and taunts Jericho about losing to AJ Styles. Jericho taunts Miz about losing a tooth to AJ Styles. Then AJ comes out. Miz attacks Jericho. They both throw Miz out of the ring and face off, Jericho and AJ. And Miz comes back in. They both throw him out again and keep going at it. I'm excited for this three-way. That sounds dirty, but I am excited for this triple threat match. At least I'm hoping that's where it's going. I don't think we actually had an official announcement of a triple threat, but I like it. If they don't do it and it's only 1-on-1, I definitely see it keep going and going to a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Yeah, right.
And I think these guys are perfect.
Right now, they've only built up to a rematch on SmackDown, which, I'm still not excited about it, but that is what it is. This segment, though, this went on 10 minutes too long. It should have just been Miz jabs Jericho, Jericho jabs Miz, and then out comes AJ. This shouldn't have gone on for 10 minutes like it did before AJ finally came out. as unenthused as I am about Jericho versus AJ anyway, and as great as the Miz has been as of late, I think by any standard, that's just ridiculous.
Fair enough. Sorry, I had a brain fart. We'll move along to another what the hell are they thinking matches. Titus O'Neil versus Adam Rose, with Adam Rose winning it with a roll-up. I don't know what are they doing with Titus O'Neil?
I don't know. I think he's just I can't even say he's just being used in random jobber roles, because lately he's been winning more matches than he's been losing, but they've all been throwaway. I was kind of interested in seeing him with Stardust. That was kind of entertaining. But, apparently Stardust isn't going to be a thing anymore, and for whatever reason, the Primetime Players isn't going to be a thing anymore, even though that team is still over as hell with the crowd. That just confuses me. With him and the Social Outcast, maybe this is going to be a thing that could work, but even as excited as I was to see Adam Rose get a win, I was just so turned off by it just because of who was supporting it, namely JBL and Cole. Because literally the entire match, they didn't talk about that match at all. Anything that was going on in the ring, they ignored in favor of JBL and Cole just tearing Saxton several new ones. And that's one thing I don't like about commentary, is that Saxton is JBL and Cole's whipping boy. They're not even pretending to spar with each other and have a little bit of interest in maintaining the facade of professional commentators. Just every chance they get, they just jab at Saxton again and again and again and again. And it's not funny. At least initially, they kind of presented the idea that Saxton was going to be able to defend himself, that he'd be allowed to go back and forth with them. But no, it's just Saxton is essentially on the ground in the field position, and they just kick and kick and kick. It's not fun. It sucks.
So, given the fact that they really kind of just have Titus O'Neil floating out there, do you think there's going to be a point where he joins up with the Social Outcasts?
That could be interesting. I would almost hope that they would allude to the fact that Titus hasn't really been going anywhere for a while now, and they would kind of cast it as a, if you can't beat him, join him kind of thing. So that could be really interesting.
I think that would be hilarious and kind of a fun thing, just to give him something to do. It's obvious that they don't have anything for him, but they still want him to be relevant as a big guy. I mean, the Social Outcast could get a bigger push. I mean, I know Curtis Axel is their big guy, but if he ends up being the more technical guy, I mean, and still on the bigger side, you could add Titus O'Neil. I mean, those two would be great enforcers for that group.
For sure. Yeah. Right now, they don't really have anybody that's terribly credible. Right now, it's a faction of jobbers. Curtis Axel has a little bit of success under his belt on the main roster. He got a kind of a strong start when he was paired with Heyman. He beat John Cena, he beat Triple H, but
he had the IC title.
Yeah, that too.
But Heath Slater had the tag team title, so you've got that.
Yeah. But as of recently, you're absolutely right. That group could do with an infusion of credibility, which to some Titus O'Neil does bring.
Cool. We will move on. Ambrose egged on Lesnar. Lesnar beats the crap out of him, hits him with the F5. Ambrose taunts him back. Reigns comes out. Ambrose low blows Lesnar. Okay, they're pushing more of the storyline with Ambrose just egging on Lesnar. And they're getting it away. This is the thing I have the slight problem with. They're getting it away from Reigns. The storyline, Reigns is now the floater in there. So if it ends up being Brock and Ambrose who are really facing off, it looks like Reigns would come out on top out of the triple threat, because if it's these two who are really pissed at each other, they're going to go after each other more. And he's basically going to sit back and pick up the win. I would love to see Ambrose win the triple threat at Fastlane, but I can't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't mind this turn of events at all. I love the way that Ambrose is poking this bear. I don't think anybody does it better right now. His trash talking is on point, and the way that, they're actually finally booking him the way commentary keeps selling him. They're finally selling him as a legitimate nut job. Who in their right mind breaks that 11th commandment and intentionally provokes the Beast Brock Lesnar? nobody but Dean Ambrose. And I love the way they're casting him as the Iron Man. Like, just once, I want somebody on TV to call him Iron Dean Ambrose. Just once. Cause that would be so perfect. Forget this lunatic Fringe bullshit, because that doesn't even make sense. A Fringe is the edge of something. Ambrose is his own entity. When he was part of the Shield, that made sense. Now, not anymore. But yeah, Iron Dean Ambrose, I want that, and I love that he's doing that. Just you can keep hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and he keeps getting back up. And I just loved that bit where Lesnar hits him with the F5, and he's laid out for like 3 seconds, and he rolls over, Lesnar looks back, and Ambrose is just wide-eyed and beckoning him for more. I love that image, and I hate the fact that Reigns' music hit just as soon as Lesnar started going back. Because I wanted to fucking see that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really like Ambrose going after Lesnar. I think it's a great idea, and you're right. It just really brings out that character that he's been working on, and he's been running with, and it's finally coming to a head. I really wish he would stop doing the weird slingshot off the rope.
Yeah,
because he never seems to really get the fling that would be expected to give him that whip over. But I mean, that's me being picky.
Yeah, it's not natural enough. Sometimes he manages to pull it off, and it's nice when he nails it. But you're right, it's too often that, you know, it's just a little too slow, or it's a little too forced. He doesn't have enough momentum to go into it. I do wish that he would dial that back a tad. But to your earlier point about Reigns, the way he's kind of become the floater, I think that works for the booking here. Because there's always the refrain, to some level or another, that Reigns is being shoved down our throats. And regardless of how accurate that is or not, I think the WWE is going the right way about this. If Reigns is going to win at Fastlane, take the focus off him a little bit. Have us get distracted by the idea of Ambrose and Lesnar just getting so pissed off at each other that Ambrose is getting under Lesnar's skin so badly that the fight is just going to be between Ambrose and Lesnar, and Reigns is going to be an afterthought. Just kind of have Reigns' victory, if that's how it's going down, have that be a surprise.
Yeah, but do you think that, I mean, people are going to crap on the main event of WrestleMania at that point? I mean, I think I get the impression that the fans would rather see Lesnar versus Triple H again, because it's happened in the past, and Lesnar supposedly broke Triple H's arm with the Kimura lock.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. And there is the risk that will happen, that if Reigns wins, the fans will turn. But I think the WWE has a really strong possibility of building this match just right, that won't happen.
Okay. I mean, time will tell. We'll see what we have coming up. Remember, Fastlane is a little over a week away.
Mm-hmm.
Week and a half away. So at the time of this recording, anyway, if you're listening late, well, sorry, man. We're an on the beat podcast here. If you're not listening every week and you're trying to catch up, you better be behind on your wrestling too, and kind of work along with us, because we're topical, man. Totally topical.
Totes
my goats. Lucha Dragons versus the League of Nations, Alberto Del Rio and Rusev. Alberto Del Rio and Rusev get the win after Barrett distracts Kalisto and ADR kicks him in the back of the head, then hits that terrible double foot stop finisher.
I don't know how Del Rio won with that, because the last half dozen times that ADR's gone for it, Kalisto's dodged out of the way. It allowed simple physics to take its course. He was no longer presenting himself as a platform for that shitty move. And now, all of a sudden, now that Sin Cara is back in the picture, we've reverted back to moron tag team Kalisto that falls for anything. I don't like this. For that matter, I don't like the idea that Lucha Dragons are a thing anymore. Thank God Sin Cara is not hurt. It sucks to see somebody injured like that, but I've been digging Kalisto as a singles wrestler. Make Sin Cara his own thing, separate from this, and have him, I don't know, assume the Titus O'Neil role, just winning and losing matches at random. I don't care about Sin Cara.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's just to set up Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto for the U.S. title. at Fastlane. But yeah, I agree with you. It's just not. Maybe he's trying to rely. The story is he's relying on Sin Cara to watch his back, and maybe Sin Cara's not doing a good enough job of that. And then they're going to have. I don't know. Maybe Sin Cara Negro makes a new appearance and faces off with Kalisto. I hope not, but
actually, I would not mind that.
For in ring ability, I wouldn't mind it, but I really like the Lucha Dragons as a tag team. So I wouldn't necessarily want to see them if they're going to part ways. I'd rather they do them amicably.
Yeah, there's something to that. I'm just at that point. I'm just wondering who's next after Del Rio. Like Sin Cara does seem like a really natural option if I don't know this reunification doesn't work out and nobody else is coming to mind right away.
Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger versus Del Rio.
Outside of the title picture, I would think so. I don't want ADR to win the title belt back.
I think it's going to happen at the moment anyway. I know I'm not happy about it, but I still think the League of Nations holding that title is something that's going. It's the League of Nations and they're holding the U.S. title.
Well, they already had the TV championship. They're fine.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they're really selling that anymore, are they?
I mean, doesn't need to. Rusev walked off with it, and he posted about it on Twitter. Like, you don't need to hype that up anymore, right?
I guess you have a point. I really wish they would touch more on that.
Yeah, same here. I would love that.
I mean, I know it's a throwaway comment kind of thing, but like if they would just go with it, it would be so entertaining.
Yeah, and I would hope it wouldn't even be a comedy angle, just Rusev walking around with the monitor like, fuck you, I'm TV champion because I have this. I took it. It's mine.
Yeah, but isn't that totally... I mean, that's a comedy angle in itself. I mean, the fact that he's even saying it.
Yeah, just low-key, but not... Don't cast him as like a joke like a Santino or a... what's his face? Vladimir Kozlov when he was with Santino. Just...
See, I see it more of a... Ass. I think it's more of an Al Snow. Like that. I've got that twinge of mental issue. Like, Rusev have TV. It means Rusev is champion. TV champion.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that could work. I would just hope they didn't cast it as foreigner equals stupid.
I think if they're going to use the TV as the TV championship, it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I guess you're not wrong.
Aha. Aha. Aha, indeed. Moving along, we had Becky Lynch versus Tamina, which actually I thought was a decent match. Sasha Banks and Naomi were ringside. Sasha giving commentary. Naomi just rooting for Tamina. Naomi and Sasha got into it. Becky came out to assist Becky came out to assist Sasha, and Tamina ended up nailing Becky with a super kick. 1, 2, 3. I think it works well to push Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks versus Tamina and Naomi at Fastlane.
Absolutely, and I'm okay with them selling the idea that Sasha and Becky still don't consider themselves to be a team. Maybe that changes as the match is happening or afterward, but this is still a pretty neat way to kind of involve all four of them while Brie gets her title match for whatever reason. Afterward, I was really concerned about what year it was because Tamina won a match. Like, how fucking crazy is that?
Well, it is 2016.
Are you sure?
Supposedly.
That's what my computer says.
I hear that women can even vote now too.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Writing my congressman.
For those of you who are getting a little upset by that, it's purely a joke. Yeah. We'll let that sink in just for a moment. Okay, since they're out of the kitchen now. All right. New Day bring out their fourth man, which was Mark Henry against the Usos and Dudleys. Was this a table match? I believe so.
Yeah.
Um, Mark Henry gets pissed off when New Day starts ordering him around, so he leaves. Left Big E open for the 3D. And that's the end of the match. Post-match, the Dudleys end up 3D'ing Jimmy Uso, powerbomb Jey Uso through the tables. I'm excited. Usos versus Dudleys. Fastlane.
You know what? Before I get into that, fuck Mark Henry. You know, the New Day didn't have to bring him into their herd. They gave him his very own unicorn horn. They even let him play Francesca. And now he was not willing to play ball and be a team player? You know, fuck that guy. I hope his horn is revoked.
Oh, you know that's going to happen.
Yeah. I damn well better.
Does this mean like the New Day takes on Mark Henry at Fastlane? To give them something to do while the Dudleys and Usos decide who's going to face them at WrestleMania?
Very well could be. I would think it'd be ostensibly a singles match, like Mark Henry versus Big E. You know, they already kind of teased that with Big E getting all bent out of shape over Mark Henry's gyrations. Like, you ain't got it, I got the juice. So yeah, I could definitely see that. It would be kind of, not throwaway, but a foregone conclusion that it'd be a New Day victory just because, you know, you would have Kofi and Xavier out there. But it would still be fun, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that would work too. I just foresee Mark Henry dismantling Kofi and Xavier to get to Big E.
Yeah, I can see that. I'd maybe even have Henry and Jack Swagger continue that sort of all-American alliance thing they've had going on for about a month now. And maybe have Jack out there to watch Mark's back.
Yeah, give Jack something to do. I still think Jack's underrated. He's got the wrestling chops. If we can't still be hung up on the fact that he's not a good talker. Not for lack of trying. It's just that voice that people can't. People have a hard time dealing with it. Yeah,
at this point, I would hope that people can kind of get over that. You know, he has a lisp. So what? He's still a great wrestler. Just put him on TV and let him do what he does.
So lose to Rusev over and over. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite the bummer that he still continued to lose all those times after.
Yeah, but regarding the post match, I'm digging this. Going into the match, I was predicting that Devon would get put through a table because of course he would. That's his role. But I've been hoping for this for some time. I was thinking it would just be Bubba turning on Devon and becoming Bully Ray again. But now it looks like they're both turning heel, which is awesome. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a heel Devon. I've heard of one. Like him and when he was...
Oh, that's right. You're young.
Yeah. When he was Reverend Devon and he had Brother Batista or Deacon Batista with him, I believe that was an instance of heel Devon.
Oh, yes. That was solo heel Devon.
Yeah. It's been ages since he's been heel, it feels like. So this could be interesting.
Well, I mean, he was in Aces and Eights.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people almost forgot about it, but I had to remind you all, I'm the bastard.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, well, if you have a problem with it, I got 2 words for you. Too bad. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I think since they've been saying they wanted to face the New Day, that they wanted to face the Usos, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It can get pretty exciting. So, then we got a commercial. Let me go back. I scrolled by accident. Yeah, we got a commercial, and with like 5 minutes left in Raw, we had the Daniel Bryan announcement.
Yeah.
This had to be one of the most moving segments, and initially disjointed segments, I think, on Raw. Just because Daniel Bryan came out, and with all the emotion he had going through him, you know, he was kind of a little all over the place.
Yeah, I think that was to be expected. Just him trying to find a way to break the tension so that it wasn't all downhill as far as emotion went. But overall, you're absolutely right. This was incredibly moving. It was just how heartfelt and eloquent that whole delivery was. I didn't actually tear up, but, I was getting choked up. It would not have taken much more for me to get to that point.
The initial watching, I didn't. The subsequent watching, I did. I felt it more. Especially after seeing that picture that's been going around of him backstage, just the other side of Gorilla, it looks like. Or it's, underneath the stage. With Brie holding him, like cradling him in his arms, and he's just bawling.
Yeah.
That had to have been so hard. And he did it with poise, and it was fantastic. It was a fantastic send-off for a guy who, let's be honest, is probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Maybe not this year. It might be a little late for that.
Yeah, within the next 5 years, I would definitely think he's going in.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be a 2017 entry.
It would not surprise me.
I mean, if we had more time, then again, Edge went in real quick. I mean, he went really quick in. So maybe it's still a possibility. But I think with Sting, with the list of people who have been announced so far, I think it'd be better to wait and give him more impact.
Yeah, it does seem like this year is the year of WCW. So maybe another year, at least one more year to wait would be ideal. Now, I don't know about you, but throughout the entire speech, maybe I wasn't quite as emotionally invested as I could have been, just because I was halfway waiting for a heel turn, or at least some kind of swerve where Daniel Bryan would immediately flip the script and that's why I am going to be in the main event at WrestleMania or something like that. And it's weird because I fully believe this retirement is legit, and there's still a part of me that's hoping that this is still an angle. I think Mark Henry's ruined me forever.
That was probably one of the best moments in Raw. I would say it's a top 20.
Yeah,
Raw
easily.
moment.
Baby, I'm coming home,
past...
and then immediately World's Strongest Slam on Cena.
Yeah, that was epic. I wouldn't rule it out, but I'd say it's extremely unlikely. Extremely unlikely. I mean, there's such a slim amount of possibility.
Yeah, I really don't think they would have let him go for 30 minutes into the overrun if this had been an angle. Yeah. But there's just that tiny little part of me just hoping and praying that it is an angle.
Yeah, I mean, I got pissed off today because I saw somebody had made a little graphic and it had the dates that, like, Shawn Michaels retired, Edge retired, and Daniel Bryan retired. And my response to that graphic was, how dare you put Shawn Michaels in that same category? And here's why. Shawn Michaels went out because he got too old. Let's be honest. I mean, injuries stacked up, but he still could have kept going. Mm-hmm. Edge and Daniel Bryan had their careers cut short. I mean, I know Shawn Michaels had the back injury and was out, and it was supposedly a retirement until he came back. But like Edge, not going to do that. Austin, not going to do that. Daniel Bryan, not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Like there's a very strong legitimate reason. Concussions. And the fact that he said, had a brain test, and this one said, I might not be right anymore, or, I'm not as good as I think I was. That's a very mild way to say, I might not be able to remember shit if I keep wrestling. Or worse. I might not be able to move a part of my body. I mean, he didn't say these things, but if you really analyze it and you're looking at it, that's some extraordinarily scary shit.
Yeah, you just don't fuck around with head trauma. Like, head trauma and neck injuries, like Edge and Daniel Bryan, that's the kind of stuff that you don't mess with. If multiple doctors are telling you, probably not a good idea to keep wrestling, then you gotta follow that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't. At that point, I mean, like you said, him and Brie are trying to trying to have kids soon. Mm-hmm. So hey, that means she's gonna be out soon. And if Nikki's out, I mean, we're losing the Bellas at that point. If he's got to be right to have kids, man, to have that family.
Yeah, let him remember the early days of his kids growing up.
As a new father, man, it is just every day. Like the fact that I even come home, I work 9 to 6 generally. My kid's going to bed at 8:15. By the time I get home, it's 6:30. take out the time that I have dinner. That's another half hour, 45 minutes if I'm cooking or whatever. Maybe even a full hour if I'm cooking. I lose so much time, trying to provide for my family. And I feel bad every day that I can't just stay home and hang out with my family. He needs to be able to enjoy the moments. I mean, I'm only 4.5 months in, and I hate the fact that I miss moments. So he needs to be able to remember his, or else that's the real travesty. Sorry about that little rant.
Oh, no, that's completely okay.
I mean, for our listeners, I don't give a shit what you think.
Well, then.
No. But no, it's just important, and family's important in the fact that he's doing what he has to be able to further provide for his family instead of being, a guy in a wheelchair. So props to Daniel Bryan. He has my utmost respect.
Yeah, just plain and simple. Thank you, Daniel Bryan.
Yes, thank you. From everybody who's ever been involved with the Fans Talk Pro Wrestling podcast and the entire Fans Talk podcast family, thank you. What else can we say? We can look ahead, though, to Fastlane. We have the AJ Styles versus Jericho versus Miz is projected. Charlotte versus Brie Bella for the Divas Championship match. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch against Naomi and Tamina. The United States Championship, Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto. And the Triple Threat #1 contender match to determine who faces Triple H at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns. And yeah, we don't know. Odds are we're going to get Dudleys versus Usos.
Very probable.
Out of all these matches, Nick, which one are you most excited for?
Out of all of them, including the probable matches, I am really excited for a Dudleys versus Uso match. Bubba/Bully Ray as a heel is one of the best characters of the last decade. I would say hands down. That man knows how to manipulate an audience. He is an absolute master at his craft, both in the ring and on the mic. So, actually getting a little heat for the Usos, some desperately needed heat, I think. That would be fantastic if he can pull that off.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't figure out to say Bully or Bubba, which one was current.
Yeah.
Bubba Ray, he started having he started his solo heel run in the WWE. I even think he was face at the time. He might have been face at the time. But I think he started to go heel. He started it there, and he's always been, in my opinion, the more charismatic of the two.
Oh yeah.
As far he's definitely got the better mic skills. And the way he propelled himself in TNA, like I can only see it rubbing off on Devon a bit, and they're going to do great where they're at now to really push the heel part. And we know that they can do it if you look back at all the ECW footage.
Yeah, even Devon, he developed into a respectable heel as a member of the Aces and Eights. He was never the force of nature that Bully Ray was, but yeah, he became credible and believable as Sarge. So yeah, I can only hope it's going to be even better now that he's had a little bit more heel experience under his belt, I guess you could say. Yeah.
For me, I think that's going to be a great match. I'm really looking forward to AJ Styles versus Jericho versus Miz. I think that's going to be another great one to watch. I think those are probably my two favorite matches on the card. I think they have the most potential. I'm not terribly excited for the #1 contender match. I'm not an ADR fan. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch versus Naomi and Tamina is good. Not so hip. I'm not so hip on the actual title matches.
Yeah, those feel kind of throwaway. I would say, with the exception of the #1 contender match, just because of Dean Ambrose's work. Brock Lesnar, it's always fun to see him in the ring, just beating the shit out of people and wrecking things. But Dean has done a lot to advance this angle and to make himself even more relevant to the title picture and just solidifying his role as a top face in the eyes of the audience. Reigns, whatever, he hasn't done a whole lot. I think he's taken the back seat to Ambrose. I would say intentionally, but overall, I think that match is going to be good at the very least. I think I am looking forward to that match. But you're absolutely right. The United States Championship, it's Del Rio and Kalisto again. It's been fun watching the title pass back and forth between the two. I think this is one of those instances where the title is actually helped by that sort of thing, just given how hotly that feud is being contested. But, you know, I am ready for it to end. I'm ready for a new contender, or a new challenger. And the Divas title match, I think that's just a foregone conclusion. Charlotte wins again. And either Sasha or Becky is going to challenge for it. Maybe, I would be very surprised if that wasn't a triple threat at Mania.
That would be fantastic. That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's got to be one-on-one, I'm hoping it's Sasha.
Yeah,
I'm just a big Sasha mark.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I think Sasha and Charlotte have a lot more history to go back on. I think they had the better matches. Certainly not for lack of trying on Becky's part. Becky and Sasha was a great match back in NXT, but there's a little more history, a little more contention between Sasha and Charlotte, it feels like. So yeah, right. Absolutely.
Okay. Moving on. What else is going on in the world of wrestling, Nick, that you want to talk about?
So if you guys have listened to Talk is Jericho this week, and if you haven't, that's totally understandable. It's a pretty hit and miss show. He was talking with AJ Styles this week, and in the course of that show, AJ kind of low-key confirmed that Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows are indeed coming to the WWE. He talked about it as a sure thing, so take that for what it's worth. I would say that's all but official confirmation of that. So great news for WWE fans. If you haven't seen those two in action, you're in for a treat. They're a great tag team. They've done a lot of good stuff in New Japan.
And they did a lot of talking about New Japan. So if you want to learn, if you're not a New Japan fan or haven't been able to catch it, definitely check out that interview because they covered it well.
Absolutely. And it gives a little more insight into the kind of guy that Shinsuke Nakamura is. So it was already confirmed that he's on his way to the Performance Center. But if you want a little bit of an idea of what you can expect for NXT TakeOver Dallas, listen to that show and you'll get a little bit of perspective on Nakamura himself. Over in Lucha Underground, next week, we're getting one new face that we know of and a couple of returning faces. There's going to be a new woman in Cobra Moon. I don't know anything about her. The gimmick looks a little cheesy, like within the context of Lucha Libre, which characters there can get pretty ridiculous. Take Masquerita, Sagrada, and Pimpinella. That's kind of the norm over there. But Cobra Moon is sort of like a snake ninja, like Way of the Snake or something like that, which, I don't know, it could be better in practice than it seems like from the vignette, but...
Reptile wins.
A little bit like that. But it's another woman in Lucha Underground. That probably won't turn out to be a bad thing. Also, returning next week are Jack Evans and Drago, and it looks like they're going to be having a match together. So I'm a big fan of both those guys, especially Jack Evans. It's an amazing athlete, great in-ring style. So that's going to be awesome. Over in NXT, a couple things happened. We had the Finn Balor and Apollo Crews rematch, and Crews came short again, which I guess was to be expected. You know, Finn Balor wasn't gonna lose and derail his momentum going into TakeOver, but it is going to be interesting to see how Crews recovers from that. There wasn't really any fallout after the match. Crews and Balor shook hands and had a bro hug, but I would imagine there's got to be something coming from that. And also, we have confirmation that it is indeed going to be Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn having a rematch to determine the number one contender for Finn Balor's title. Baron Corbin can fuck right off. He is out. He got submitted by two dudes at the same time, so thank God for that. And finally, a name that a lot of you probably will not be familiar with, Will Ospreay. He is a British wrestler. He is only 22 years old, so keep that in mind for what comes next. He is signing with New Japan as just a regular talent. And that is interesting because most foreigners, most non-Japanese wrestlers, most gaijin if you're going to New Japan, you're going as either just a regular dude on a handshake agreement, like Ricochet, like Matt Sydal. Like, if you're one of those guys, if you're working in Ring of Honor or just an indie dude from the US, you're going to come over and be just not quite a jobber, but you're going to do a lot of just throwaway matches. Or you go and become a young boy, kind of like Dave Finlay, like CJ Parker, now known as Juice Robinson. You're going to be working at the very bottom, like Cody Hall. You're starting at the very bottom. You're going to be doing a lot of chores and such, like cooking for the veterans, cleaning up around the dojo, things like that. And you're going to be working your way from there to kind of earn yourself a little prestige, a little credibility. Will Ospreay is doing neither of those things. He's signing a regular talent agreement, like a signed contract, like you would with the WWE. And at 22 years old, having never worked for anything bigger than Revolution Pro, which is a respectable organization in its own right, but it's not a huge one. And he's already getting that sort of recognition. That's fucking impressive on his part. Well done to him.
Cool. I guess that means we move on to win, fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win.
You do any job,
And fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
For those of you just joining the conversation for the first time, Win Fail is our chance to acknowledge both the best and worst things that happened this week in WWE, TNA, Lucha Underground, NXT, professional wrestling as a whole. So, Nick, what is your win of the week?
My win goes to the Dudleys. I think this heel turn was long overdue. I was really hoping for it, at least in some fashion, early on after they came back. And I feel like they've been spinning their wheels ever since that whole Team ECW versus Wyatt's feud. So to see this finally getting a little bit of advancement, as Joey Styles put it, this is the end of their nostalgia run. Now they're going for titles. So this is awesome.
Cool. My win of the week was Renee Young's Twitter. Apparently, in the segment with The New Day, Kofi was holding up a calculator, and on it, it says boobies.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned about it, was on her Twitter, and she's like, really, guys? Really? And it just made me, I had a belly laugh from that. So I have to give my win of the week to that. The fact that Renee Young tweeted it. You know what I mean? She's got a great sense of humor, as can be seen on the road trip show.
Ride Along.
What's it called? Mm-hmm. Ride Along. Thank you. Because this week they posted an episode where she was riding with R-Truth and who was it?
Was it Summer Rae?
Maybe it was Summer Rae. I was kind of half paying. I was listening, not watching.
I think I remember Summer Rae from the commercials.
Okay, then it was Summer Rae. And then they also had in another car Wade Barrett and Sheamus.
Yeah.
So, which was quite humorous themselves, because they're like, hey, don't they know that neither of us have our license? And then they got lost.
That sounds spectacular.
Yeah. It's a fantastic show to listen to everybody. Nick, what is your fail of the week?
I'm throwing it at Jericho and Miz, going for 10 minutes and just spinning their wheels before finally bringing AJ out. That went way too long.
Okay. Which is a good call. Yeah, I agree. It did go a little too long. My fail of the week is, it's not exactly, I mean, it's a fail in general. It's nobody's fault as far as I've heard right now. That the passing of Axel Rotten. Axel Rotten was an ECW wrestler, if you'd never heard of him. He used to team with Balls Mahoney in ECW. Great. I mean, Axel Rotten did a lot of hardcore matches. He did some good work. I still haven't watched a whole crap ton of ECW. I've watched pieces here and there. Man has my respect. I know he had a lot of problems, and he was coming out of it. He actually had a lot of health issues where he was hospitalized for a long time, like laid up in bed, like almost like a coma, I think, and had gotten back, was doing a lot of physical therapy, was getting back on the horse and getting back to being right. I was one of his Facebook friends and followed all of his progress and whatnot. And then all of a sudden we found out he's dead in a hotel room. Nobody has, as far as I know, has come out and said it was drug related. And it just could have been something kind of like Eddie Guerrero where his just body gave out after all that time.
Yeah.
But condolences to his friends and family and fans who will miss him.
Mm-hmm.
So, fail that he was taken away. Nick, do you have any final thoughts now that I've brought the show down?
Not especially. Garvin, we miss you. Wherever you are, please come back to us. It was wrong to leave you alone in the woods the way we did, and we are incredibly sorry.
My question then becomes, now that Daniel Bryan's trimmed his beard, is Garvin going to trim his beard?
Oh, shit.
Fans, we want to know. We want your feedback. Should Garvin trim or shave the beard? Yes, should he, and which one? Or no, leave it alone. Just because I'm curious, hit us up on Twitter, on Facebook, email us at questions@fanstalkpodcast.com. Yeah, that would be great to find out.
I, for one, would be... I would be incredibly in favor of that as a sign of mourning for Daniel Bryan. I think that'd be incredibly appropriate.
I don't think he'd do it, but I've got pictures of him with less beard.
Garvin, if you ever hear this again, if you do not trim your beard as a sign of solidarity with Daniel Bryan, that makes you a heartless son of a bitch.
Haha, you heartless son of a bitch. All right. Well, we want to thank everyone who tuned in, downloaded this episode. Once Garvin comes back, we will be live again at fanstalkpodcast.com/live. We record just about every episode of Fans Talk Pro Wrestling Live, FTPW Live, on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. There you'll find our Mixler audio feed and chat. And that's all we got. Shout outs to all of our listeners who, I'm sorry, I don't have the capabilities to do the live show. So thank you for putting up with just downloading us and not interacting with us. Garvin will be back next week. I'm tagging out. I have a work trip to go to the other side of the world. 24 hours on a fucking plane. So yeah. This series, as well as the rest of the podcast, released through the fanstalkpodcast.com, are supported exclusively by our Patreon subscribers. You can subscribe today for as little as $1 a month to receive early access to our content, as well as get your ears on some exclusive content that we produce throughout the month and the year. We produce it periodically all the time. For Nick, myself, Garvin, Harrison, Kevin, supposedly Lee, Dinosaur Lee, and the rest of the Fans Talk podcast family. We'll see you next Tuesday. Peace. Fans Talk Pro Wrestling is part of the Fans Talk Podcast family and can be found at fanstalkprowrestling.com. The Fans Talk Podcast family is a subsidiary of Tigar Creative, LLC.